My name is Juliet Horton. I started teaching in a secondary school in 1996. I was teaching in West London. I started teaching as a history teacher, and within that school, I rose up to be head of history and head of humanities. So I kind of then moved from West London, which was a very mixed, diverse, but very much a comprehensive school, to a school in the inner city, which is an all-boys school. A very different school. Its attainment when I arrived there was 9% 5A star Cs. Obviously, that's massively increased and it's been massively improved since. I started work there as head of humanities. Whilst I was head of humanities, became an advanced skills teacher, which is currently my role in school. I've became involved in the College of Teachers whilst finishing my Masters at the Institute of Education, and I'm currently a fellow and on the council. I'd say my other interests in teaching are very much related to communication, so I currently train the debating team in school, and one of my proud achievements where I currently work is that they are the borough champions and have represented Tower Hamlets for the last 4 or 5 years. I became a teacher because during the summer before I was going to attend law school, after having graduated university with a history degree, I did a summer job teaching students English, foreign students English. And I really, really enjoyed it. I really loved being with teenagers, and it made me think, I don't want to be a lawyer. And so I qualified as a TEFL teacher, taught that for a couple of years, realised what my passion was history, and thought I'll go into secondary school teaching. Things have changed quite a lot since I've been a teacher. I think most importantly, in terms of the pedagogy and how it's developed and how we teach students. So there has been lots and lots of development in terms of how students learn, the sort of activities, the sort of student-centred activities that help students make progress. There's been lots and lots of work done, in particular on how to improve and develop students' literacy work, particularly more attention recently in terms of their literacy. There's been much more attention paid to getting students to work collaboratively in class, to develop, on the other hand, also independent inquiry skills. So there's been, pedagogically, we're doing much, much more. It's much, much more about what the students do rather than what the teacher does. 10 years ago, you may well have walked into the classroom and been watching what the teacher does. Now, when people come into reserve classes, they're observing what the students do. I think the sorts of training that are available, I think the views on training of teachers and the sorts of training available to teachers is much better now. So I think there's much more of a notion of staff development is about lots of different types of learning opportunities and is something that's continuous. So it's not about attending one-day courses. When I first became a teacher, staff development was attending a day course or whole school training within the hall. Whereas now it's much more individualised, so there's encouragement to do master's courses. Lots of new trainees in particular continuing masters. I finished my master's in leadership a couple of years ago. There's lots more courses online, like the College of Teachers provides, and it's much more kind of about individualised, continuous learning opportunities, whether it's reading journals, doing an online course, doing a master's study, as opposed to attending a day training course. Okay, I'd worked with this teacher some years ago. In fact, actually, at one point, our department consisted of me and her. And she'd joined my department as a supply teacher. She'd been trained in South Africa. And we worked side by side with each other, teaching all of geography, history, and RE in my school. She was actually a drama teacher, an English teacher, and she very rapidly came to grips with the geography curriculum, which she was delivering, and the RE curriculum. She was inspirational to the students she taught. She immediately connected to our students, was able to differentiate for their needs, to inspire them to do more. She then moved on to working with the English department, which was much more near her specialities, and she's now an advanced skills teacher. But I think what makes her so good is she is very supportive to her colleagues. She's very empathetic to the people she teaches. She plans exciting, interactive lessons. She listens to them. She's very firm with the students, but they know that they can have a joke, they can have a laugh with it, and they know that she cares very much about them. I think one thing, as I was saying earlier, reading journals is a really very good way of keeping yourself fresh. I do read the College Teacher Journal, which has articles I think of a very high standard and I think are very interesting. There are also what's quite interesting is there's lots of education is in the news all the time. And one thing I found really useful is on the College Teachers website, they have education in the news. So I can very easily and quickly find which newspapers are writing about education that day. The Department for Education website is also very good, obviously, for updating you as a teacher. Also through networks of teachers, so whether it's through the Historical Association, I'm a history teacher, that's very good. They have a newsletter, they have meetings, that's a very good way of updating yourself. There are always current changes affecting teachers. I think that's one of the big changes in the last 10 years is we're very rarely allowed to sit still. So there's a massive review of Key Stage 4 at the moment, of which none of us are entirely clear what it's going to look like because my Grove at the moment is just releasing things to the press. But we know that the EBAC, which we thought was merely maybe a measure to measure schools by, has actually become a qualification, and there's going to be exams. The whole Key Stage 4 curriculum is going. GCSE is going to be radically transformed. So that is going to have an impact on us. In line with that is also going to be a review of Key Stage 3. So all of that will have a major impact on what's happening to schools and what teachers are planning for. The way schools are organised is also impacting on teachers. So the move towards academies and free schools, which are organised around differently to local authority schools. The slow decline and possibly, I think, the eliminations would be a bit strong word, but the slow decline of the local authorities as a support structure. I don't know how long the local authorities will actually be around in the future. Will also impact on how teachers receive support and where they go to for advice. So there's a massive change going on at the moment. I teach in an inner city London school, and I think very much so there's still a social moral mission. I think it's very hard to work in a school I work in if you don't have that, because you're being judged by your lessons are being judged by exactly the same standards on progress as a grammar school or a private school. And what the kids you're working with are so much more diverse, the range of abilities is so much broader. So therefore the level of planning you need to put into your lessons is greater. You know, I can teach a class where a child can speak no English and I have a level 7 student in the same class, and I have to think about how all the students in between and them make progress in every lesson. If there wasn't a social mission, I'm not sure why else we would do it, because I don't think the financial remuneration is enough on its own. We're there to believe, because we believe that those students deserve exactly the same opportunities and exactly the same rights to progress and to achieve in our society as everyone else, regardless of their background. I'd like to see that the curriculum remains diverse and we're able to offer students a whole range of opportunities. What I fear that what has happened to the curriculum is it's become rather narrowed, that the measure of 5 ASOTs, including English Maths, means that lots and lots of curriculum time and attention has been focused on students' English and Maths results. And in state schools, all the extracurricular provision has kind of gone by the wayside because we need to keep them after school for English, maths, and we also need to keep them after school to get their science and now history because of the EBAC qualification. What I'd like to see is a way in which we can deliver a broad and balanced curriculum so that students are getting their access and given opportunities to experience the arts and drama and theatre and sports, that remains a key part to our educational system.